And joining me now to discuss this latest development further is political analyst Ahmad Shahidov, joining us live from Baku in Azerbaijan. Mr. Shahidov, a pleasure to have you with us once again. So, to start off, both the leader of NATO and Azerbaijan's president seem to have come out of this meeting pleased. One of the biggest talking points was the progress on the Zangezur corridor. Please tell us, what is the Zangezur corridor and how important is the deal on the security of it for Azerbaijan?
Thank you for having me in your program. Yes, during the visit to Brussels, the President of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, was expected to meet with the NATO Secretary General as well, because, in fact, a balanced policy, the main line of official Baku's foreign policy, and Azerbaijan closely cooperates with all regional and global players. We also have relations with NATO, and these relations have existed since 1994. I think that today's meeting between the President of Azerbaijan and the NATO acting Secretary General discussed the current situation in the South Caucasus, the post-war period, and the regional cooperation, as well as cooperation between the parties. And there are new conditions in South Caucasus after 44-day Karabakh war, and Azerbaijan is in favor of peace and cooperation with Armenia, not only with Armenia but all regional parties. So, what about the NATO-Azerbaijan relations? NATO conducts different exercises with the Azerbaijani army from time to time, but there is no high-level strategic cooperation links between the alliance and Azerbaijan, because Russia's influence in the region is greater, and during the 44-day Karabakh war, Moscow's role was very important for achieving, peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and there is Russian peacekeepers in Karabakh today. Of course, NATO officials are interested in cooperation with Azerbaijan as well, and NATO closely watch the situation in Karabakh about the activity of Russian peacekeepers. But Azerbaijan has only one NATO member, with Turkey. We have a very high-level strategic cooperation, but in general the relations between Azerbaijan and NATO are common, and these relations between Azerbaijan and this NATO started in 1992, when Azerbaijan joined the newly created North Atlantic Cooperation Council. And we have joined different projects of NATO, especially peacekeeping activities. Azerbaijan involved in peacekeeping activities in NATO, in Kosovo. During 1999-2008, Azerbaijan sent a unit composed of 34 servicemen to Kosovo. Then we had peacekeeping groups in Afghanistan, in Iraq. And so what about today's meeting? I think that Azerbaijan is also interested in NATO's role in post-war period, because after 44-day Karabakh war, Azerbaijan is interested in opening of Zangezur corridor, as you mentioned, and this corridor will link not only Azerbaijan and Turkey, it will link Armenia with Russia and Iran, and the Zangezur corridor will play a huge role in economic sphere as well, from China to Caspian Sea through Azerbaijan, and this Zangezur corridor will take all these countries to Turkey and to Europe as well. And also, I think NATO countries also are interested in peace and stability, long-lasting peace in the region. That's why today's meeting is has some importance in the field of stability, especially security issues. But anyway, Russia's role in the region bigger than NATO influence. That's why I think Russia's are also observing the results of today's meeting with between Ilham Aliyev and NATO Secretary General.
All right, so now President Aliyev talked about transport links that need to be forged in the region, linking other countries such as Russia and Iran. So can you see steps being taken that could benefit more than Azerbaijan after security is achieved?
You know, after some issues will be resolved between Armenia and Azerbaijan, I mean this delimitation and demarcation of state borders between these two countries, I think the next issue to be expected to resolve is economic issues, because as I mentioned before, Zengezur corridor is one of the important points of these economic projects. And NATO members can also play a very significant role in achieving this peace and security in the region. And I think, however, it must be agreed between the another countries in the region, between Iran and Russia. And I don't think that Russia and Iran will agree to have NATO in the region. It is, however, a complicated issue. But anyway, Azerbaijan will have cooperation with NATO, and NATO members, this alliance can play our role in the keeping the peace and I would say stability in the region, this peace, especially peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan. But this role, it will be not big, so big. That's why I think there are some political factors like Iran and Russia as well. But anyway, through Turkey, as a NATO member, Turkey has a significant role in the region, especially after the Second Karabakh War. And as you know, Turkish soldiers are located in Agdam, in joint Russian-Turkish joint monitoring center. But it doesn't mean that the NATO are in Karabakh. It is another issue, the separate issue, because we have strategic relations, cooperation relations in military field with Turkey, and it is another case. It is not involving the NATO-Azerbaijan relations. It's very, how to say, complicated, and if we look the recent relations, cold relations between NATO and Russia, NATO existence in Georgia, in Ukraine, I think that today official Baku's policy regarding these relations between Russia and NATO will be, I would say, not so big, and Azerbaijan will not make big steps in favor to have better relations with NATO. It is, however, the ordinary meeting between the leader of Azerbaijan and NATO Secretary General. In this sensitive period, I don't think that Azerbaijan will sign maybe any strategic documents with NATO. It is just ordinary meeting, and Azerbaijan has to agree some security issues with its brother country Turkey, and another neighbor country Russia, who has a very significant role in achieving peace in South Caucasus.
All right, so Mr. Shahidov, one last question before I let you go. I'd like you to elaborate on this a little more, that the meeting that took place was part of the EU's Eastern Partnership Summit. What is at stake for the European Union as well as NATO to bolster partnerships in the Caucasus region?
You know, Azerbaijan as well as Armenia are a member of this partnership program, and the meeting between Pashinyan and Aliyev to be expected in Brussels today or tomorrow. And I think that European Union intends to enlarge its geography till the Caspian Sea, but it is, however, complicated and a very difficult situation because Azerbaijan, Armenia, as a post-Soviet countries are under influence of Russia today, and Russia's role in South Caucasus still remains, and it will be very difficult to involve these countries to the European Union. But anyway, this project, this program exists a long time, and the Azerbaijan and Armenia and other post-Soviet countries are members of this Eastern Partnership Program. But in the framework of this program, we have some projects, especially on humanitarian issues, on democracy and human rights. And what about the meeting between Pashinyan and Azerbaijan? I think European Union organizing this meeting between Pashinyan and Aliyev also wants to take advantage over the region, because 15 days ago in Sochi, it was organized a meeting between Azerbaijan and Armenian leader, and a lot of strategic questions agreed between the parties, and there is no any ground, there is no any question between Armenia and Azerbaijan to be resolved in Brussels. Also, Brussels, European Union hasn't any significant role to resolve any questions between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The key of this conflict was and still in Moscow, in Kremlin. That's why we see Russia as a third part in the resolving this conflict. As I said before, the next meeting between Pashinyan and Aliyev are also the next ordinary meeting, and we don't wait any important results from this meeting, because all questions, all issues have been agreed in Moscow, in Sochi, via the Russian role. That's why I think it is just the next meeting between Armenia and Azerbaijan and NATO, Azerbaijan and European Union. There is no need to wait any important results from these meetings.
Always a pleasure talking to you, sir. Thank you so much for taking on the time to speak to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And well, that concludes this news hour for now. I'm going to leave you with